volunteer at the London Transport Museum. I'm currently working on the Battle Bus project, and I've got a few questions for you to answer.
Yes. Okay, my name is Deborah Hedgecock, and I'm the curator here at Bruce Castle, and that means that I'm in charge of the building, the museum, and the collections. And that means looking after the collections with my staff and my colleagues, obviously. And we also programme events and exhibitions and put together education programmes for local schools and adults and children for informal learning.
Okay. So what stories about the First World War have not been told already?
Okay, we've got quite a few projects that have already happened that have captured those hidden stories that are often not known. So that's been really important. So there has been a conscientious objectors exhibition, and there's been an exhibition about hidden heroes from across the empire who served with one of the local regiments. So those two in particular have been very important. We also had our own collections used for Alexandra Palace to tell the story of Belgian refugees and German internees. So those are quite hidden stories and quite unusual stories for which our collections and the stories are very important. But actually it's probably more everyday stories that hasn't really been researched and investigated more. So we have certain stories that we know about, and we have photographs and related documentation, but it's a lot more of the more everyday stories that we'd like to learn more about.
So what would you think appeal to the local audience in particular?
Well, we have a diverse range of local people who come to the museum, so we try and cater for all different audiences as much as possible. But by partnering with other people in delivering some of these First World War projects I've already mentioned, that has brought new and different audiences to the museum who might not have otherwise come here perhaps if they didn't feel that it's part of their history, and we're trying to tell people about those hidden histories, so people who come here ordinarily would learn about other people. So we're trying to tell alternative stories and stories that are very personal and relevant to different audiences, but we're willing to work with a wide range of people to try and capture and record those different stories, so that people feel that their history and the relevance to them is kept here at this museum.
What can you tell us about Tottenham's main involvement in the First World War?
Well, again, it would be a lot of different sources of involvement in different types of things. So obviously a large proportion of men would have gone off to fight, so they would have had to leave their families and basically in effect disappear. There wasn't the same communication we would have had today. On the home front, people would have to change their lives radically. So in Tottenham there was a lot of big industries that were great big employers, and so we have pictures here. So we have women who had to go off to work and do what men's jobs were. So we have those important changes happening here. So basically the war was a catalyst for a lot of change. In Tottenham there was a lot of open space turned to allotments, so transforming spaces so that you'd put the land to good use to feed the people locally. So it was a lot of change happening in Tottenham, and all the different resources here, from the factories to the farms, all turned to different uses. So the football ground, transformed in order to support the home front. So, and then of course there's a high proportion of conscientious objectors as well, but also equally local people who would be more conservative and have very patriotic views as well. So there's all those people living cheek by jowl together.
So how did local people take news when residents had died?
Well, I think very human responses. So, this was a high level of devastating loss of a lot of young men in particular, and losing your own children or your brother or your father, it's a huge sense of loss. So we do know that amongst the stories that we actually know, that there are a lot of very emotional, very heart-wrenching stories of people's dramatic sense of loss, and particularly of young lives. And one young life was one particular individual. I think it's this gentleman here, Charles Fouracres Greenlees, killed in action in July 1916. And his family, he was an only child, so his family obviously lost their whole family in that, and it is said that his family erected the war memorial of a Celtic cross just by the entrance to All Hallows Church, just across the park here, for the original parish church for Tottenham. So that's a very wealthy type of response, really. But the sense of tragedy, the sense of loss, captured that. They didn't make it personal to the individual. They put the cross up to all young men in particular who lost their lives. So that's a very generous and lasting memorial to those who lost their lives.
How do you feel working with the Battle Bus Research Project Group and with London Transport?
Okay, it's been a great experience so far. It's been great to meet you all and actually see you all really engaged with the original primary resources that we have here, and how you've taken little strands and taken it further into your own research and linking up with your other research that you've already undertaken for this area, or the Battle Bus in particular, within the London Transport Museum collection. So it's been a very good experience so far, and we look forward to seeing the results of our project. So thank you very much.
Thank you.